Seems like half the conference is fighting for a spot in the college football playoff. Let's squad up. Ba, 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 ba.
You're talking ball with the SEC squad. From Alabama to Tennessee, from Georgia to Oklahoma, from Auburn to Texas, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming SEC weekend. It's the SEC squad, and we have a seat for you. Hurt feelings and thin skin are prohibited. Squad up, you're part of the SEC squad.
Man, that is the longest open ever, every single week. Welcome into the SEC squad, and man, is it a full house. I'm Zach Blackerby, host of Locked On Auburn, joined by Brandon Olson of Locked On Gators, Luke Robinson of Locked On Bama, Clint Shamblin of Locked On Bulldogs, John Neighbors of Locked On Razorbacks, Chris Marler of Locked On Gamecocks, Corey Burton of Locked On Vandy, oh my goodness, Stephen Willis of Locked On Ole Miss, Spencer McLaughlin, host of Locked On College Football, and John Miller, host of Locked On Mizzou. Give me a take, Luke Robinson. Give me a take about the state of Alabama football right now.
All you got to do, I think the biggest thing right now is, do we want to make the SEC championship game? And yeah, I've changed my mind. I didn't want to, but now I do. There's a trophy. Let's go get the dang thing. And
yeah. Stephen Willis, it was your head coach that kind of led this discussion. Lane Kiffin being like, yeah, I've talked to coaches who say that they don't want to make the SEC championship. I think it's one of those things is like, that might be true. I don't know if that's something you should necessarily be saying, but here we are.
Yeah, if you're 11-1 Texas, yeah, go play the SEC championship game. You're going to be fine. If you're 10-2 Ole Miss, no, stay the heck away from that game because they will do whatever they can to penalize Ole Miss, Arkansas, or Mississippi State. That's what they do.
Why is it not a good thing for a coach to say?
30 years, so
you're saying you don't want Ole Miss to have a chance to win the SEC championship? That's where we are in 2024.
No, I would rather them have a national championship.
You're going to have to win a lot of games to get there, buddy. I'd go for the one. That's what I would go for.
Yeah, I mean, Steve, I think that's part of this to me is you're the head coach of a program who, and I'm really not meaning this to troll, but like when is the last time Ole Miss has won an SEC championship? I mean, have they done it?
It's been the 60s, but the reality of this is there is no AFC East championship game. It's all about winning the whole thing now. That's what they've done by expanding this. Do not waste the energy with the wear and tear and the extra game. If you are not at the top in the elite level, more bad can happen from going to that game than good.
I totally
that's
disagree.
Georgia.
Okay. Do you really think the committee is going to leave out the SEC championship game loser?
Yes. To answer your question,
I don't.
Yes.
I think it depends on who it is.
Clint can answer that one.
I don't know that it does depend on who it is because the teams have all beat up on each other in so many different ways. Georgia beat Tennessee, but Tennessee beat Bama, and then Bama beat Georgia.
Well,
like if one of those teams is 10-3,
you're right. So all of them beat up, and if there's one team that has 3 losses, that's the team that's out. To your point, they all beat each other up. Okay, great. Let's go to losses. 3 losses, boom, you're kicked. Like that. It's the easiest.
I wonder if style points matter. What if a team loses on a last-second field goal getting blocked?
Georgia would not have dropped 9 places in the rankings with a loss. Like the rankings showed that week. They will penalize losses no matter how good you are, no matter quality wins before. It doesn't matter. The playoff committee will look at losses alone. 3 losses, you're done.
Okay, what about Florida State last year, though? You're talking about the middle of the season rankings. What about the end of the season rankings? I'm not totally sure that's true, Clint.
Florida State, unequivocally, that was an injury. They made a process, not by wins and losses. They looked at the team as a whole roster composition, and that's why they booted Florida State. No other reason. And they will look the same if there's a roster out there they like, because it's not style points. It's what will get ratings and what will do it. 3 loss. Nope. Sorry. We're going to be done with you. We're going losses. And then we'll make this determinations based on preferences.
I, too, do not want to play in the SEC championship game.
Well, yeah, I think that's why Billy made sure he wasn't there.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose that. And then,
I think that's it.
And by the way, I guarantee you this whole thing from Lane, he's just saying something that was said in the Saban Disciple group chat that they have. It was probably Billy and Kirby and all of those guys.
Yeah, it was definitely Barkley. He's been chirping about not going.
Do you think that's an all Apple iPhone group chat, or do you think somebody in there has an Android, and who is it?
Oh, Lane for sure has an Android.
Well, it depends on what college.
I
agree with Brandon. It's definitely Billy.
He's using
so.
Signal
You
for
can
all the
order
blondes in
McDonald's
his
online.
contacts.
Billy is the reason why they have green. They have green instead of blue.
Luke, what are you saying about online? You know so much about the internet.
Yeah, I do. They call me Mr. Internet, Al Gore's cousin. But Nick Saban didn't know the McDonald's had an app you can order off of until he retired. I mean, that's true. He said that. He was like, "What are you talking about? Order online, McDonald's?"
I mean, how often do you think Nick Saban was going to get his own food anyway? I mean, do you
Never.
think that really impacted him that much?
If I was over around him, he wouldn't be going to get his own food because I would have done whatever he wanted.
You could go get Nick Saban any meal in the world right now. You had to impress him. What would it be?
Big Mac. Oh.
Nick,
Cook him
I'd
something.
get him 6 little Debbie oatmeal things stacked
Got
together.
Got it. I knew that's what we were going with. So, guys, the lines across the SEC this week are pretty large outside of my Auburn Tigers and Texas A&M, and I'm going to make y'all talk about that game later. But who's the candidate of one of these, double-digit lines, or at least, more than a touchdown line? Who slips up this week? Who's the biggest candidate to slip up this week? Guess, Corey. I see you raising your hand. I'm going to call on you.
LSU.
I totally agree.
LSU. They are on as quoted from a bunch of y'all. Quit watch. It might be warning territory.
Yeah.
Are we talking?
Y'all think that's
are
why
we talking?
Gordy's not here? Is because LSU kind of tripped up? Y'all think that's why he's not here?
They've lost 3 in a row, and they can't handle running quarterbacks.
And
Yep,
they're going to be
that's
wearing
obvious enough.
snazzy gold uniforms.
Not even
Matt
running
Moscano has
quarterbacks.
anger
This
management.
Flyway didn't run a single time. It's not
that-
even running quarterbacks.
that ain't gold, that's
He's running
mustard.
runs.
That is mustard. Are we talking slip up as in don't cover the spread, or slip up and lose?
I think lose.
I think lose, right?
lose.
Yeah, I think
Both.
lose. Sure.
Yeah.
Why do you have somebody in mind, Clint?
Yeah, give me Florida and the points right now, today, and twice on Saturday when I go back to the window. They are covering that spread. They're not going to win.
No, they're
I
winning.
might sprinkle some on the money
They're
line.
winning.
They're not
But-
winning.
They're winning.
Brandon,
not
if
winning.
Florida beats Ole Miss, what's the first thing you're saying to Stephen Willis?
I will get fired if I say that right now. I just want to
Got it.
Just think Degeneration X.
I appreciate your censorship. Absolutely. Stephen, you say no way. Why is that?
This team is just absolutely rolling at the moment. 63 points
Wow.
against Arkansas. They absolutely dominated the Georgia Bulldogs. Florida's going to be tough. They have good players. DJ Lagway is a really good quarterback, and he's going to be absolutely terrifying in 2026. But this is the year that you can get him.
26.
So we'll see exactly what happens.
I don't know. He kind of looks like a guy to be pretty
He's pretty good
good
right now.
Wow, Spencer, I forgot you were here. I so
Thank you.
forgot you were
Now
here.
he's
Hey, buddy.
usually cutting everyone
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
need some Houston BYU information.
Yeah, Spencer. I've never seen you not talk for this long.
Ashton
What are
Jenkins.
your thoughts on the conference right now?
Well, I'm just hoping. I've been hoping for many, many weeks that everyone ends up at 10-2, just so that we can have the most unbridled chaos possible at the end of the week. Because as someone who doesn't have a dog in the fight there and can't get screwed personally by the committee, I think that would be really fun. Other fan bases would probably disagree, but that's all I can think with the SEC right now. Is I want every team to wind up at 10-2 just for the fun of it. Because why the heck not?
Yes,
Tennessee
but Chandler,
fans are
Vote him
reenacting
off
Full
the
Metal
island
Jacket
right now and boot him from the SEC squad. Is that a possibility?
it is. A
I am only
possibility.
sticking around for this first segment if that makes you feel any better.
I think it's
Thank
going to
God.
kind of work itself out. So I don't really think we need to do a whole lot with that. Marler, your internet is back. You
It's
must be
not.
back in
Or
South
is it?
Carolina.
It's
Oh,
not.
he's
It's
frozen.
okay.
He's frozen. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Marler's out of AOL disc.
Goodness gracious. Okay.
Marler's somehow on the internet through a VHS machine.
It's unbelievable. It's
VHS
unbelievable.
is what we're calling
The
it.
interweb
VHS
does not reach Columbia, South Carolina.
It's not a
It
VCR.
clearly does not. It clearly does not. All right, who else is on upset watch? Who could stumble? Who do we need to be watching this week? That's all next on the SEC squad. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at Skylight Frames. It's the holiday season. If you're missing someone over Christmas, New Year's Eve, Thanksgiving, and you want them to be part of your festivities from afar, well, I got to tell you about our friends at Skylight Frames. It's so easy to use. We've got the perfect gift for you. Skylight Frame. It's the touchscreen digital photo frame that your whole family will love. You could upload thousands of photos with your phone and watch them appear in seconds. You can invite friends and family to easily share photos via the free Skylight mobile app or email. You don't need to make an account. There's no subscription, which is rare in today's world, but the touchscreen's a game changer. You can swipe through all the photos, or you can kind of have them change every few seconds. But you can also tap to see the new photos sent, and you can send a heart button to say, thank you. Thank you for adding more great photos to my Skylight frame. Check it out. As a special limited time offer to our listeners, you can get $20 off your purchase of a Skylight frame when you go to skylightframe.com/college. That is SKYLIGHTFRAME.com/college to get $20 off your first purchase. Now at skylightframe.com/college. Today's show is also brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel's America's #1 sportsbook. You know this. I know this. There's a lot of tricky lines this week, but if you say, hey, no, it's not tricky. I know my stuff. I know everything about college football. Well, put your money where your mouth is. A lot of interesting lines. Ole Miss at Florida. Ole Miss by 10.5. Georgia, 42-point favorite against UMass. Kentucky and Texas. Texas, a 20.5-point favorite. I feel like there's no way Texas wins by 3 touchdowns. Take the Wildcats plus the points. And I'm looking at my Auburn Tigers. Full transparency, the 2.5-point line in favor of Texas A&M is very interesting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 at FanDuel and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's over at FanDuel.com. So you guys are really against LSU this week. I mean, who thinks LSU beats Vandy?
Oh,
just one person here? Only John Neighbors of Locked On Razorbacks?
I mean, if you're going to make me pick, I guess even, but you asked me to pick an underdog.
I'm making you pick. I'm making you pick here. Straight up Vandy at LSU. What are we doing?
Nobody quits like LSU quits, though. Like when they're rolling and it's fun and it's electric, it is the best atmosphere probably in college football. That's true. But I'm an Alabama fan that's been to a lot of games in Baton Rouge, and I was there when Dennis Franchione beat the heck out of Nick Saban back in like 2002 or whatever it was. Freezing cold, and those suckers were gone midway through the first. If they get down 10-0, it's over. Thanks for shopping. We're going to do something else. When they're winning, it's great. When they're losing, they are out of there. Look, the end of that Alabama game the other day, I mean, that last touchdown, you look around, there's nobody anywhere to be seen. And I think they're on quit watch. And Vandy is the opposite of that right now.
Diego Pavia smells blood, man. Yeah, Diego Pavia. Yeah,
with the NCAA too.
Yeah. They had 6 sacks. They'd given up 6 sacks all season. They played Ole Miss. They played Alabama the whole 9 yards, and then gave up 7 in one game. This team has already quit.
Yeah, I think Luke is on to something about LSU. I also think this applies to a lot of the traditional blue blood programs in this new 12-team environment. If you're not in it, I think you're going to see a lot of teams subconsciously or consciously at times pack it in with opt-outs and whatever else. I think it'll come earlier than bowl games, I think, in some certain situations.
Yeah. John, I could listen to you talk all day.
Thank you.
It's just something about it.
It is a beautiful voice.
Appreciate it.
Beautiful face, beautiful voice, incredible.
Oh, wait, am I number 1 on the face ranking? Sorry, that was an off-air conversation.
Yeah, no, I think if we power ranked faces of this group, I think you'd be towards the top. Let us know in the comments. Genuinely curious.
Yeah, let's hear
Missouri, Missouri's been kind of like had a 20-something next to their name for a big chunk of the last month or so. And I don't fully get it, just being 100% honest, but they go to Starkville, but only a 7.5-point favorite are the Missouri Tigers. And that's a surprising line to me.
Yeah, I'm with you a little bit. The thing with Mississippi State is they've gotten worked by some teams in the conference, and yet they played well against Georgia, for example. So the problem is they haven't won a single game. You know, that's the thing. The thing with Missouri is I'm going to make my bold prediction that the Tigers will finally win an SEC road game this week. But a big difference between how they performed against Texas A&M and Alabama and, of course, South Carolina. Obviously, the Gamecocks are playing about as well as any team in the country right now. They're playing really good football one way or the other. And, you know, it took a lot. It took kind of a last-second touchdown there by the Gamecocks to win it. I was there, by the way, had a fantastic time despite a heartbreaking finish. It was really a great time in Williams-Brice Stadium, I'll tell you.
Did you buy your tickets via Game Time?
Of course I did.
The Game Time app?
Did. Obviously. Yeah.
That's
Where
good.
else would you buy them? Is there another option?
I don't know. No clue.
But no, I had a great time. And honestly, for as much as people want to give Missouri a hard time, you have to give them credit for last week's game. So I got to think they're going to win this one.
Hey,
yeah, Missouri beat Auburn, too. Good for them.
I got a question really quickly for John Miller. What's the deal with all those rocks in your end zone, like back behind the end zone? I've never
question.
What's the deal with those rocks?
The Rock M thing, well, it's a tradition. Everybody gets their rock. They paint them, kind of part of the whole deal. I don't know. I'm sure this is a thrilling segment.
We should have told y'all got.
Have you ever painted a rock to put back there, John?
Big 12 stuff.
Oh, come on. What else? Well, I didn't play football for Missouri. I know this is breaking news for everybody.
Only the players get to paint the rocks.
Well, I think freshmen can as well. So I may have been at Harpo's that night or something like that. I hate to say it, my freshman year.
So freshmen and the football players can paint the rocks.
Can someone beat
I think it's
me
just
with
freshman
rocks,
period.
please?
I'm getting my traditions mixed up, but regardless, hey, what do you want from me? We got the hill. It's our thing. I don't know what to tell you. It's going to be there forever.
Okay. Can you paint the rocks any color, or are there limitations on what you can do with the rocks?
It's only white. It's all white. Definitely.
It's
sort of like whitewashing your fence in the
like
South. You guys know what I'm talking about.
If you needed to go ahead and try to revolt against a head coach hire, would you paint horrible things of that head coach on that?
Oh my
rock?
gosh!
No, again, it's just all white. I don't know why you guys are overanalyzing this here. There's no messaging. It's just like,
can they paint or arrange it?
Listen, all I know is I want to rock and move beyond this segment.
These guys paint rocks, and you're looking for logic behind it.
Yeah,
And that's just ridiculous to me.
Is the color rock chalk?
I'm sorry. I was just at Williams-Brice Stadium. Do you guys think the cock call is a better tradition? Did you like that on every third down? How about some crap for that instead of the frickin' rock?
Sounds like
what are we talking about?
Our South Carolina host doesn't have internet.
I know. And thank you. At least I have strong Ethernet here. Give me that.
Yeah,
My goodness.
Like painting a rock sounds like something like, man, I'd rather be painting a rock than doing this. I mean, that's what it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Like
man, there are coaches in
grow?
the SEC who like to eat grass, so I don't know what to tell you. It's a
Not
weird
anymore.
conference. We're just trying to fit in.
And also, if Mississippi State is going to get anybody this year, it's likely going to be this game, and it would only be this game.
Oh,
if
stop
Missouri
it. Oh,
is winning.
Steven, you are just such a hater at all times.
What do y'all think of the narrative about Texas not beating any ranked teams? Do y'all care about that?
I do.
Only Vandy was fifth.
Well, I mean, Indiana's fifth in the country. I mean, what the hell?
If
What are we
Texas
talking
beats
about here?
Texas A&M and Texas A&M has a 15 besides their name, they're fine. Their schedule's fine. Nobody can say a thing about it.
Why
If
is Texas, Penn State,
Wait, say that
Indiana
again?
get the pass?
If Texas wins out and beats a Texas A&M team that has a number 15 by their name, there's nobody that's going to say anything about their schedule. If they lose,
what if Auburn
they're
beats
going to
A&M
the
this
back.
weekend?
Then that's
They
garbage.
don't have a 15.
And I think A&M's likely going to lose to Auburn. But we'll talk
Let's
to that.
go,
in a second.
Steven. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, it's one of those
Kissing
things.
up to the
That is-
boss is
Likely?
ridiculous.
Hey, that's an absolute.
This is why your
smoker.
team's losing on Saturday, Steven.
No,
this
this
is why.
no.
That loser mentality.
Oh, that's not a loser mentality. Hey, if you go to FanDuel right now, Vegas knows something on that line.
Somebody's got to explain that spread to
96% of
me.
the money
Honestly,
is
I
on
think
Texas
Steven's
A&M.
right, but what is that something? I'm confused.
Well, I don't think
They want
Auburn's an
money.
inherently bad team. They've
Sure.
just been really good at finding ways to lose. I mean,
I
they're a
think
top,
it's the definition of a bad team.
Yeah, everyone
Yeah,
knows
sure.
week 13 is when that changes.
I mean,
Right.
it might. I don't know.
That's a good point, Brandon.
I don't know. They're a top 30 team on offense. They're a top 32 team on defense. Like, there's not many teams in all of college football that can say that. I don't think they're inherently not talented.
Yeah, they're not a losing team. They just aren't very good at winning. Sure.
The problem with it is,
John, thank you.
Vegas did this a week ago with the BYU Kansas game, the exact same thing, and Kansas ended up winning outright.
Well, Vegas has hated
That's what
BYU
I'm
all year. Like,
Yeah.
I think they were like
week
an
before,
underdog
they
when
did
they
the
went to
same thing with
Orlando
Ole Miss
against
and Georgia.
UCF. Yeah.
And BYU lost to Utah. They just got completely bailed out the same way
Vanderbilt,
LSU did
Kentucky.
against South Carolina.
Wow.
Okay, all right.
Wow. We're doing that. We're doing that.
I'm just saying.
Well, holy war action here.
Do you think if other stadiums in the SEC painted rocks, they would paint them white, or do y'all think they would change the color up a little?
We paint bricks at
I
Alabama.
think you should all kick
Do you
rocks.
actually?
How about that on this topic?
Ole Miss's rocks would be powder blue. That's the only thing I know for sure.
It's a great color. I mean, if you're painting a rock a certain color, I think powder blue is always an appropriate color.
No,
How many of you ever smoked rocks?
What does that mean?
No?
Break that down for us just real quick.
Okay, so it's a derivative of an illicit drug that okay, I'm gonna actually never mind. Ronald Reagan, look it up.
Okay, so like, are we actually concerned about the Texas not playing anybody thing? We never really stayed on that topic.
I'm not.
You're not.
Texas is trash.
I think if Texas
I'm not.
loses, if Texas loses to A&M, they fall to the end of the queue behind
But
Tennessee.
hang on, they have played somebody and they lost to them by double the score at home. That's the thing. Texas played one team and they got doubled up at their house.
They almost
That
lost
matters,
Arkansas.
right? Like, shouldn't that matter? I feel like the
It
other
matters
people.
to me.
They
I feel
almost
like-
lost to Vandy.
Yeah, I just feel like if that wasn't Texas, that would be a bigger deal. But it's Texas, so we're all fine with it.
No, it's going to catch up with them when in the playoff they get bounced because they are not a good team. They are flawed in many capacities. They are not a good team, and they will get bounced early.
And I
Steven,
know
do you
this
think
is-
Steve Sarkisian's okay with not making the SEC championship game?
I don't know if Steve Sarkisian can because he still is the Texas head coach. I think all of the boosters are talking about playing in the SEC championship.
They want this. They want
I
it.
would think so. Your first year in the conference.
Yeah.
Do y'all know
they've got to
that-
want it as much as anybody.
I wish Jonathan Davis was here. Locked On Longhorns. Go check him out. But if they painted rocks, do you think they'd be burnt orange? I don't know.
I want to
I don't
hurt
know.
so money.
What are
for
we
you
doing
right now.
here? We're still on this.
Why am I here?
I don't think they explained it that well, John. All right, we'll talk about Arkansas next. That's next on the SEC squad. Anything for John Neighbors.
Don't kick rocks.
This week's SEC squad is brought to you by our friends at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less than on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your money. You could run your game all season long with Prize Picks. 100 times your money. Obviously, you can pick more than just 2 players to increase your winnings. You can sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You kidding me? You don't even need to win to get the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, PrizePicks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. So download the app today and use code LOCKEDONCollege to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. All right, John Neighbors, let's talk about Arkansas. The Razorbacks host La Tech, Louisiana Tech. Y'all are favored by 22 points. Go ahead.
Great.
Here's your moment. Here's your moment. Go ahead.
Arkansas will barely win.
That's it. That's all you got.
Yep.
What's up with Coach Cal asking people not to make it about basketball, but he asked people to use their tickets for basketball? What's going on?
Apparently there's this thing that people have done at Arkansas where they sold out 19,200 season tickets and
nobody's
they're not being used, which is so cool and fun. Yeah, so it's weird times here in Fayetteville. Nobody really knows what's happening. It's okay.
Anybody feel sorry for Arkansas? Anybody?
Absolutely.
Anybody care?
I thought basketball season didn't start for a month.
That's all we got right now, brother.
Y'all are
That's all
ranked.
Auburn's got.
Y'all are ranked, Ole Miss.
Is Ole Miss ranked?
They're
I
25th,
think, and I think they fell out of the AP poll.
Oh, did they? Okay.
Yeah, but they're undefeated. They fell out.
That should be like what Missouri is doing in football, but for some reason they just stay ranked.
Well, Ole Miss doesn't paint enough rocks.
I'm
glad
that the nation is focused on Missouri being 23rd. Who cares, honestly?
All right, let's just go through this real quick. So number 9, Ole Miss at Florida. We've got a few people picking Florida. How many people are picking Florida here? Brandon Olsen, John Neighbors.
I'm kind of on the fence. I'm not real sure.
Don't be on the fence,
I'm with
Corey. Pick
you.
one or the other.
I think Florida covers. Ole Miss wins.
Line's
I
10.5.
agree.
I don't think that's crazy.
I agree with Luke.
Florida's winning.
Like, I don't think Florida's that bad of a team. Like, the perception of Florida is worse than the actual team. Like, the team is decent.
Well, after last week, I think it's really shifting the other way now.
I just have a quick
maybe
question.
too far.
If Billy Napier beats Ole Miss, wouldn't that solidify him as an actual good head coach, Brandon?
Yes. Here's the thing.
Give him the extension.
I have a two-pronged approach to this thought.
So Brandon is completely changed.
No, DJ Lagway has only lost one game as a starter, and it was Georgia, where he left in the second quarter, and he was leading at the time. And two, come
on.
I have said for months that Florida will win this game because every Florida fan,
you just want the hilarious factor.
Was hire Lane Kiffin, and the funniest thing, the most SEC thing possible, is for Billy Napier, who everyone wanted to fire, to hire Lane Kiffin, will then beat Lane Kiffin. And
I don't mean to fact check, but how many games has he started, Brandon?
It doesn't matter. He's only lost one. And
by the way,
you got balloons.
Why did he get balloons for that?
If you do this,
that's confusing.
Oh,
really?
How do I get rocks on my screen?
Is this the thing?
I'm getting a
I
rock.
fell for that completely.
I don't think so. Do it again, Clint. Do it again.
I'm completely distracted, man.
No way. What?
Watch this too.
What
Hold
is
up.
happening?
Hold up. I'll help you all out. Let's see if it does it here too. Oh, it's not doing it. It usually
That's
gives it a little,
embarrassing. That's
by the
embarrassing.
way, Zach, our perception of Florida was completely shaped for the most part by Brandon Olson. It should be, because he has been telling us how bad they are, and I've kept seeing some growth, even though they kept losing. I know, but now they're getting better. It's not going to shock me if this is a game into the fourth quarter with Ole Miss.
All right. Thank you for that, Luke.
It would surprise me if it was a close game as well. They're playing really well right now, but their big one loss that Florida had recently was to Georgia. You said that yourself. Ole Miss just beat Georgia by 20. I mean, I know, but I think the logo on the side of the helmet is clouding people a little bit right now. This is a good football team.
Well, let me have some science behind this as someone who knows.
What are you about to say?
Science.
Ole Miss always has something happen to keep them from getting to that next level. Look at 4th and 25 back in 2015. And
I'm not going to speak that into
that was a team that beat Alabama that year, and they lose that.
Well, I think it'd be funnier if Mississippi State did it next week. Like, if we're really going to draw up that storyline, I think it's funnier if Mississippi State.
No, it would be. But that's too easy. But that's
the expected one, though.
Yeah. If Ole Miss beat Florida and lost to Mississippi State the next week to knock them out of the playoffs, the whole fan base would be on suicide watch.
I'd love it.
A little too far, but yeah, for sure. So UMass goes to Georgia, and the only reason I'm bringing that up is for some reason Missouri went to UMass, and that's still just so strange to me. That's so strange to me that you're an SEC program who paints rocks. We don't fully know the reason why or who all's allowed to paint the rocks and all that. We don't fully know the tradition, but it's just wild that they went to UMass. That's just crazy to me.
I can't wait to put you on the spot for an Auburn tradition next week.
We roll trees after we win.
I cannot
sadly, we don't win that much right now.
I am going to get revenge on you. Just know that.
That's fine. That's fine.
Why did so many SEC teams play UMass? Didn't Mississippi State play UMass as well?
Mississippi State. Yep.
Because they wanted an easy win, obviously. But the travel part, I have no defense for that. I have zero defense
UMass wanted
for
that money.
Yeah.
Yeah, UMass is getting paid. Good for
them.
Their
coach for it.
Missouri.
I was going to say, did UMass pay us like $10,000? I don't know.
They took all these SEC schools on their schedule and then fired their head coach, and they lost a bunch.
That's messed up, right? Like, isn't that messed up? Can we all agree that's messed up?
And they're still better in the SEC than Mississippi
All right, let's just get through these games real quick, guys. Kentucky at Texas. Any chance? Any chance?
Yes.
Anybody want to make a take?
I'd say there's a chance.
Takes?
I'm not taking them.
There's a chance, but that chance is Mark Stoops getting fired after the game, maybe for getting.
Kentucky had one good game in them. They used it in Oxford, and they really didn't use it great then. They just got very fortunate towards the end.
Kind of survived, yeah. Right. Okay. Wofford at South Carolina, whatever. Louisiana Tech at Arkansas. John, do you want to talk about that anymore, or are you good?
No, I literally could not think of anything else I'd rather not talk about.
All right. Missouri, Mississippi State. Any takes there? We all good on Missouri? We're all good? Painted rocks and all? Yeah. No, it's in Starkville. Just kidding. Alabama at Oklahoma. Could this be interesting?
No.
That line looks weird to me. Talk about another fishy line. That's another fishy line. That should be much higher. And for whatever reason, it's not. It just makes me think something's interesting and fishing there. I don't know what. I haven't figured it out yet.
Let me say this about Oklahoma. I looked at their schedule, especially in SEC games. If you take out the pick six they had against Auburn and then the fumble recovery against Ole Miss, that they only score like 17 points a game in the SEC.
And, they're super banged up. Like their
new
offensive
coordinator.
Yeah.
Does that change things? Is that why the line? I don't know.
Oklahoma has to front run in that game just to keep it close. If Alabama gets the lead, they're leaving.
Yeah, I agree with that. Texas A&M and Auburn. Who's taking the Tigers? Who's taking the Tigers? Let's go.
And the whole state of Tennessee.
All right. So like half of us
seem
took
right
Auburn.
with Texas A&M right now. Something seems odd. Something seems odd.
Okay. From your mouth.
Well, they're looking
God's
ahead to
ears,
Texas
Corey.
already, says their head coach.
Yeah, like he literally
how
did
wild
actually
was
say that.
How crazy was that?
That's probably the weird thing.
That was
I'm
fair.
literally
Great
thinking
Freudian
only
slip.
about Texas. Auburn this week.
It's like, oh yeah, sure you are. Sure you are. And then
Zach,
Vandy had
does this
LSU.
give you any vibes of Cadillac Williams win over Texas A&M?
The vibes in that game were immaculate. No question about it. I have the canvas of him running next to Tank Bigsby right here, just off of camera. Does it feel the same? No, it does not feel the same. It does not feel the same. But like that Texas A&M team that Caddy beat was like they were awful.
They were god awful.
Like that was who just left?
Clint.
Clint just left. Man. The balloon
That's
thing was
heartbreaking.
weird, right? Now that he's gone,
I'm
the
pretty sure
balloon
it's
thing
'cause
was
he's on, like,
strange.
I think it's because he's on either an iPad or like an Apple computer that when you do that, it pops up.
Like, is he allowed back for
I'm
being
on
able
an
to do
Apple.
that?
I'm on an Apple computer too. It's not doing it.
Okay,
I just think he's weird.
If
Could
John
be that.
Miller does this, do rocks start coming up everywhere?
Hey, if you smell what the Rock is cooking.
There we go. There we go.
What
They're
do
never
the
gonna let me
Rocks
host this
cook
show
in
again.
Missouri?
Last one, Vandy at LSU. We were like half and half on that, right?
Yeah, and it's because LSU is on quit watch. They had
Got it.
I think people were melting down on the sidelines down in Gainesville.
Mhm.
They struggle with running quarterbacks, even though Lagway's he didn't necessarily have to run, but the previous 2 weeks
He couldn't run. He couldn't run. They still
he had
won.
1.5 hamstrings. Jalen Murrow, I think, just scored again on LSU.
Nice.
And that's what Diego Pavia does best. And I think they're going to hold the ball on him. And I think LSU is going to get frustrated. The fans are going to start getting frustrated. It's all going to start melting down in Tiger Stadium. It's going to be.
Where does Diego Pavia rank all time among Vandy quarterbacks?
It depends on who you ask. Right now, he's
Asking
probably
you.
number one.
I think according to Kristen Cavallari, he's definitely number one.
Yeah, she would agree.
Little
With
Jay
that.
Cutler ex-wife joke, huh?
Yeah. Well,
Man.
I would
Thank you.
honestly, I would put Jordan Rogers above him at the moment.
Above Jay
Because
Cutler?
Over Jordan Rogers won 9 or 10 games at Vandy.
But Jay
Until
Cutler,
Diego Pavia does that.
his cool factor
Yeah,
is
rule
off
of
the
four.
charts.
Diego Pavia is just a star. His star power is probably the best out of all.
Well,
Yeah, that's fair.
We're talking about winning games. It's
His
probably
brothers in the
Colors
stands.
lighting up darts on the sideline. I mean,
Uh-huh.
if that's what you want, that's okay. But as far as winning games on the field at Vanderbilt right now, Jordan Rogers is the guy.
he's a hell of an announcer too.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, this has been the SEC squad for John Miller of Locked On Rocks. Locked On Mizzou, Stephen Willis of Locked On Ole Miss, Corey Burton of Locked On Diego Pavia. Vandy, John Neighbors of Locked On Razorbacks, Luke Robinson of Locked On Bama, Brandon Olson of Locked On Gators. I'm Zach Blackerby of Locked On Auburn. And please make whatever your favorite team is, Locked On whatever, your first listen every single day. Until next time, this has been the SEC Squad presented by the Locked On Podcast Network.
Rock on.